Would you like to hear a story? Yes, of course you would. For who can resist the charms of a well-told story?
It's a story that I love to tell, and this is about stories.
I would like to tell you one short story, may I?
What is the story of Abhau?
This is a story about people. Self-determined men and women enriched by age. Tales of remarkable achievements, everyday journeys, surprising passions, and inspiring legacies. Meet Dot Webb, Arizona's pioneer Stockwoman of the Year, and Carol Christensen, also known as Wonder Woman's stunt double, and Alan Rasmussen, the very best kind of superhero. They make their home here at Abhau. This is a story about interesting older people and exceptional younger ones too. Abhau is blessed by team members like Sheldon Stallworth. And speaking of Sheldon, there was something residents at Fern Lodge in Redlands, California had wanted to say for a long time. So recently they made a plan, selected their words carefully, and put it in writing.
We also want to let Sheldon know that being the type man he is makes a huge difference to all of us.
Well, Sheldon is a fantastic person, and I adore him because he not only cares about us, but he's kind enough to remember our first names.
Had Sheldon known at the very beginning all of the responsibilities his job description would include one day down the road, perhaps he would never have walked through those front doors. But lucky for us, he did.
He's just terrific.
This is a story about a company that has championed a person-centered approach since 1949. A story of visionary leaders such as David Ferguson, who this year celebrates his 20th year with Abhau.
Does it feel like 20 years? No, it's flown by. On the other hand, when I reflect back at the things, the experiences, things we've accomplished, certainly has been a long 20 years, but very enjoyable 20 years. I think my military experience, I draw on it almost daily, trying to take the road of taking care of the people that work for me. They'll make me look good. And that's really my job as the CEO, is to clear the decks for the other people and get them the materials that they need. Are there any mountains left to climb? Well, certainly. And I think the big one for me that I owe the organization, having been so good to me over the last 20 years, is to make sure we have a successful transition to the next leadership and having a good succession plan, which we think we have in place, but implementing it will be the challenge over the next few years.
This is a story worth sharing across generations.
I went out to your school and read to the kindergarten children, and they all had whiskers. My husband, who had been an administrator here at Plymouth Village, and I were looking for something that all of us could do as volunteer work. And it happened that our daughter, who had also been an administrator here, worked at Highland Grove as a teacher, and so the connection was made. What it means to me personally to share my story is that I have an opportunity to share what my generation is experiencing today, but also what we experienced as youth with other children. And I felt that it was a very important piece of what we did when we went out to the school. But what we learned is that we had to stop and listen, because these children, when they got to know us a little better, shared back with us. And I realized then we were getting more back from them sometimes than maybe we were even sharing there.
It's very exciting to sing with, because they sing very good, and I just enjoy singing with them. It's my passion.
My children, and they were not an integral part of my music life, and I don't get to see my grandchildren. So this experience with Highland Grove has been such a loving, wonderful a part of my life, and I'm so thankful for it. Oh, bless your heart.
And this is a story about me. I too have a story to share. My name is Esther Singer. I live quite happily at Oak Knolls Haven in Santa Maria, California. I've had a rather interesting life, though a rather bumpy start of it early on. My mother was 7 months pregnant with me when my brother ran out into the road and was run over by a bus. The shock of that accident caused my mother to give me birth prematurely, so I was born weighing only 2.5 pounds, and a doctor was summoned. And when he came, he told my mother that I wouldn't make it, but if my eldest sister would give me brandy every half hour from a Waterman pen, that might help. Well, I loved the brandy, I made it, and I've always felt that life has always been a very special gift. I was 8 years old when war was declared, and the next time there was an air raid, my sister said, "Come on, Esther, let's go." And I said, "I'm not going." I refused to leave the house. And at the end of the air raid, I peeked out my bedroom window, the glass was broken, and all of London was ablaze. To me, America was wonderful after the hardships of the war. Eisenhower was president, gas was just 19 cents a gallon, and that's where I met my husband, and we were married a year later. In 1959, my husband and I decided to move to California, and I tried to find work in Santa Barbara, but there was very little industry, and the only decent paying job was at the university. And the day before I applied, a secretary in physics said, "I'm sick of physics. I have a job in Robinson's. I'm out of here, goodbye." And I come along with a technical typing background, and that was what they wanted, and I was hired. I couldn't interpret anything. All they wanted me to do was to be accurate and type what they had written down, and that was my gift to them, my lack of knowledge. I have a magnet on my refrigerator that says, "Darling girl, just get on with it." And I have found that in my 80s, that's what you have to do, just get on with it. So that is my story, and David's, and Mary's, and Sheldon's. A story shared is one for the ages. At Abhow, a story shared is the key to a life that is timeless.
It starts with just a single voice. Won't you sing?